We continue on our journey through the Gospel of Matthew. We are just looking at one verse in this portion of the study, and we're going to be looking at the translation by Monsignor Ronald Knox. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 37. I say this, that in the day of judgment, men will be brought to account for every thoughtless word they have spoken. The words will be matter to acquit or matter to condemn them. It is a fact of life that at some point in your life, you will be conned. You will encounter a person who tells you a story of woe that moves your heart. The pain, the heartache, the loss all seems too real, and you buy into the story. A person who is real good at this type of thing learns how to manipulate your feelings and emotions. You can be put into a situation where to not respond to the person in the perceived need is to make you look bad, and in particular, make you feel that you are looking bad. If the person can get things to this point, you can be trapped. Now, it seems to me what a con artist wants to do is create, or have you, I should say, create your own sense of narrative. What he or she wants you to do is to draw from your pool of experience. If you have, before encountering that person, a set of feelings about a circumstance or the situation in the past, and the con artist can draw those feelings into the story he or she is telling, you are in trouble. You see, at that moment, the emotions that you begin to bring into that story are real and actual. They're not emotions dealing with what the person is telling. But do you notice what I'm saying? The link that is there. If they can do that, then it shifts things from the con artist to you. The reality is, we know this. If you have somebody who's a con artist, you let them talk long enough and they will eventually contradict themselves. They will say something that doesn't add up. They'll say something that raises questions and doubts. No, what the really good one is the one who allows something within you to be drawn into their story and account, and in particular, your emotions, because that's something real and actual. The words of that person, if allowed to, will in time raises questions about his or her credibility. I say what I did in the previous paragraph to draw out the point that the longer you live, the more you realize the duplicity of people's words. I'm not saying that of everyone. I'm rather saying that the longer you live, the more you have been exposed to people who use words to manipulate you. Now, on the one end is the con artist, on the other end is your 2-year-old seeking a cookie. We don't put all of those in the same pool, but we understand that words can be used to twist and manipulate, and in particular, manipulate ourselves. The goal of the believer in Jesus Christ is to have the type of speech that can be trusted. The reality is that religion in general has been home to some of the worst con artists. The church has not always been above board at this issue. The church can oversell the power of tithing. Well, that's kind of convenient. It helps us with our financial needs. Or the church can oversell the power of Christ to heal. The reality is, not everyone who seeks and believes and has the faith to be healed is healed. What we can do is manipulate people because of desperation or misplaced greed. We do not need to overhype or oversell the Christian faith. What people need from us are words of truth and humility, words that are consistent and true, that reflect a trust and faith in Christ. You realize the longer you are in the church that not everyone has a faith commitment. And here in this paragraph, I shift to look at We need to be aware and open to what people say in the church around us. If we are to pray for people, we need to learn to hear what they are saying. I think one of the truths that Jesus is speaking of in this verse is that if we allow people to speak and allow people to be heard, we long enough, we can see who and what they are, and who and what they are will come through. Does a person talk of the faith, or does a person talk of the business of the church? Does a person talk of God as a person or as an abstract entity? Does a person talk the language of faith, or do they use a string of religious cliches? The point is, what we say will convey what we believe. Our words are the clue to who and what we are as people.